Hey everybody, welcome to another Pro Acoustics Tech Talk. I'm Nathan, and today we're going to be talking all about TAA and BAA compliance. What does it all mean? All right, so sometimes when we have people requesting audio systems, it comes up whether or not some products are TAA or BAA compliant. TAA stands for Trade Agreements Act, and BAA stands for the Buy American Act. These two compliances are important aspects of procurement, especially for government purchases or military purchases, and they have to ensure basically that the product meets specific sourcing requirements. So let's start with the TAA compliance. The Trade Agreement Act of 1979 is a law that governs trade agreements negotiated between the U.S. and other countries. And that basically means that to be TAA compliant, the product has to be manufactured in the U.S. or another specific designated country. TAA compliant products must be substantially transformed in the U.S., so it may be a raw material from another place that comes to the U.S. and then is significantly transformed, or to another country that has a trade agreement with the U.S. Those countries normally are underneath the umbrella of like the World Trade Organization, NAFTA, which means Canada and Mexico normally, and certain other agreements. And substantially transformed means that basically the original product, the raw material, has undergone some kind of significant manufacturing or processing change in its nature, function, or form. Most of the time these products are going to say that they are TAA compliant from the manufacturer. That does differ from the Buy American Act compliance. Buy American Act of 1933 requires that the U.S. federal government prefer to buy U.S.-made products in some of its purchases, and that means that the product has to be made in the United States, not any other country, and that means that the product have been assembled and processed in the U.S. The substantial transformation process does still apply, and at least 50% of the cost of the components by value must have been sourced from the United States. So it's kind of a little bit different thing, but once again, most of the time manufacturers are going to tell you if something is TAA compliant or BAA compliant. Lots of times when it's BAA compliant, it is going to say made in the US. Which makes it a little bit simpler to track down the product. The major differences between these two is going to have to deal with something that's very important here called country of origin. The TAA, Trade Agreements Act allows for the product to be made in different countries, not just the U.S. So sometimes a product made in, say Taiwan or Malaysia or certain places along those lines, Mexico as well as Canada sometimes. Whereas with BAA, that's going to be U.S. only. Also, the scope changes many times. Generally on much, much larger projects, BAA can be required, whereas sometimes on smaller products or a smaller project where this is just a small piece of the overall project, the TAA can work in its place. What are the practical implications for this? So basically, when seeking a government contract, many times it can be required to either be TAA or BAA compliant. So we need to know about that early on in the process. If you do require that for something that you are doing for the government or the military, it's worth mentioning because non-compliance can sometimes be expensive. Means you can, not have your bid be processed or not be able to provide the product or that kind of thing due to the funding nature of the overall project. So how do we know if something's BAA compliant or TAA compliant or none of the above? Not every piece of audio hardware is BAA compliant or TAA compliant. Lots of gear is made all over the world many times. For instance, this Atlas M1000RW, a very popular sound masking speaker, is not compliant with TAA or BAA compliance. That being said, in many times it can still be used in a variety of environments. This FAP62T-USA actually is made in the USA. Many times when something's made in America, you will see either a flag or made in the US printed on the product, and at the very least printed on the box. It is a requirement for most international trade these days to say on the box where the hardware was made, what its country of origin is. And I have an example here that does say the country of origin right here on the box from a manufacturer. So it's very important to kind of keep that in mind if this is something that applies for your project. And many times you can reach out to us and we can help you with that to determine if the system you're looking at on our site or product you're looking at will be compliant for what you need for your project. If you have more questions or would like to go over this further, definitely reach out to us. Our website is linked down below. Once again, my name is Nathan. Drop us a like with a comment. Let us know what you're working on or if we can help with anything. And until next time, guys, take it easy.